Coming to the Landmark Hotel today, which was originally, as well as for the big announcement regarding this man, Joyce, was also going to be about Saturday's promotion at Wembley, which is going ahead, but with a little problem. Frank Warren.
Right, so we've got a little bit, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. We have a problem at the moment, is that Daniel's opponent, Larty, went to the British Embassy in Accra, Ghana, to pick up his visa. His team were given their visas. He apparently was refused a visa. There was a problem with it. So we've been liaising with the Home Office, and in fact, as I was just doing an interview there, I've just been told that they are trying to get him to grant him his visa today. That would get him in the country. We're going to know within the next few hours, because obviously he's got to fly here to be able to fight and weigh in tomorrow. We're also looking at other opponents should he not be available. But until we know where we are with Larty, we can't make a decision on whether Daniel's going to fight. So we will know, as I say, later today, and we will obviously put an announcement out concerning that. But the show will take place whatever happens.
Yeah, that's the important thing. The promotion at Wembley does continue, irrespective, and will be shown live on BT Sport.
That's correct. Yeah.
So, moving on to the big announcement today, which is a promotional agreement involving Joyce. Frank, spell it out for us, please.
Well, you know, Joe and I spoke after he won his silver medal in the Olympic Games regarding doing a deal. He obviously went in a different direction, but a good friend of mine who's promoting him, Richard Schaefer, and I'd had discussions for quite a few months, and myself and also my son George have been speaking with Adam, his advisor, lawyer, and with Sam down the end there, who also manages him, regarding trying to do a deal. So after, I think we've done it fairly quickly at the end, didn't we? We also had a like-minded to do the deal, so we did it. And obviously at the end of the day, Joe had to make his decision, and he decided that he wanted to jump on board with us, and that's what he's done. So Queensberry will be promoting his fights in association with Richard in the future, along with, and all his fights will be broadcast on BT. So I feel at the moment, you know, us, BT, had the best crop of the next level of heavyweights to come through. When you think of Joe, you look at Daniel, you look at Nathan Gorman, it's a pretty good lineup of heavyweights, and I'm hoping over the next, or to the end of this year, that these guys are going to fight each other.
So when are we looking at seeing Joe on a Queensberry promotion bill?
His first fight will be on the undercard of Billy Joe Saunders' fight on the 18th of May at Stevenage. That fight at the moment is for the interim title, but I understand, and I was told by Bob Arum a couple of days ago, that Ramirez will be vacating that title because he can't make the weight anymore, which will make that Bill's fight for the full title. So fingers crossed that happens. But Joe will be on there. It's a cracking little show as it is, and we're really delighted to be on there making his debut on BT and for Queensberry.
Well, before we hear from Joe himself, let's just hear from Sam and Adam about why this is an important development, and the fact that you've agreed a year-long deal with Frank. Start with you, Sam. How important is this at this stage? Undefeated, Joe, winning everything by knockouts. How important is this relationship?
I think it's massively important for Joe at this stage in his career now. He's been kind of floating about on different platforms. He's boxed in America quite recently, but I think it's really important not to neglect the UK market. And with Frank guiding him, the sky's the limit. With BT Sport, big fights are what we want, and that's what we're going to get.
And being back here, fighting in the UK, I guess, we'll hear directly from Joe in a minute, but that's kind of the direction that you need to go.
Yeah, 100%. Like Joe's still going to be fighting in America, but he needs a base in the UK. And Joe loves BT Sport. I think we spoke to Frank in LA with Richard Schaefer, and we was happy with, and things kind of slowed down, and then it picked back up, and we finally got it over the line, which is, it's going to be massive for Joe's career.
And 33 now, aren't you, Joe?
Yep.
At the age of 33, you want to be getting on it. You want to be getting on with it.
Yeah, I'm excited to start with Frank Warren and getting some massive fights. I'm ready. I'm ready to take on anyone. I'm just really excited to get the ball rolling. And May 18th, I'm gonna put on a good show. And I've been training with Adam Booth now, and training camp's going really well. And I'm improving, picking up new things. So I'll have a chance to demonstrate my skills on May 18th.
Adam also involved with the management of the big man here and on the legal side of it. I noticed, obviously, read all the social media and everything, that Joe was mentioned in the same breath as a certain heavyweight champion who comes from this country. Are you going to be pushing for massive fights in the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I think we have to. You've got to look at where Joe's come from. He's been brilliantly promoted to date by Richard Schaefer, who's got him mandatory for the WBA title, mandatory for Kabayel, British titles ordered, and now he's teaming up with Frank. So yes, we absolutely want the big fights, and hopefully which promoter you're with and which TV network you're with won't affect things too much. But obviously Frank promotes Tyson Fury, and that's the route to the world title for Joe. So there are lots of big fights out there, and when we talk to Joe and say, do you want to fight so and so, his answer is always yes.
That sort of fighter. I mean, you were talking about Anthony Joshua. He's scrabbling around for an opponent, and you'd said yeah.
Andy
Yeah,
Ruiz,
why
it
not?
looks like, yeah.
It's it's a brilliant opportunity, and I think I'm ready to take on the top guys. So just strategically a few more fights, and I'll be up there anyway. So that opportunity was kind of presented and there, so I'm obviously interested.
Realistically, I guess that's not going to happen. So realistically, how far away do you think you are from the mega fights?
3 fights?
3 fights, as close as that.
Yeah, three, four fights. Yeah, I'm ready.
Now, a lot of the guys here, of course, were expecting to see Daniel Dubois today. The board have said Dubois versus Joyce can happen. What's the score with that, Frank?
Well, the score is really simple. We don't know where we are with Daniel at the moment for Saturday.
Yeah.
So once we know where we are later today, then we can get that fight out of the way, whether he fights on Saturday or not. And then next week we will be sitting down with all our heavyweights, and we'll be having a press conference for all you guys to inform you what the plans are.
Where do you see yourself, Joe, in the heavyweight shake-up? I mean, when you look at the guys out there, can you evaluate, in your opinion, who's the strongest? Who do you think is the one that you could really target? We've heard about Tyson Fury, we've talked about AJ, Deontay Wilder out there as well. Can you just give us an idea of what you see as the relative attributes of the main heavyweights?
Okay, so we'll start with Fury, and Fury is, very elusive. He's got great head movement. His footwork's good, and he's, good at like keeping it at range and really getting his shots off from different angles, and with them flicker jabs and stuff like that, and his ability to outbox someone if you let him get going. Wilder on the other end of the stick is he's got decent boxing ability. He's he comes in quite light, so he's quite fast, and he has an amazing one punch output where he can really really knock you spark out. Yeah. And I think with Joshua, he's a bit more balanced. He has he's a good guard, and he's quite robust, and he has quite quick hands, and he's powerful. He's very physical specimen.
If you were to be fighting one of them 3 fights down the road, which is what you've talked about, who would you fancy the most as being the guy you could beat?
I would go with all 3, but either of them. They can queue up like one after the other, or something like that. We'll see. But I mean, whichever opportunity presents itself first, then I'll go with that one.
Now, before then, you say 3 fights. What would you want to add to your armoury in those 3 fights? Because, I mean, you must be aware of what people say. And one of the criticisms has been that you can be too easy to hit.
Yeah, well, you know, I can block shots with my face, as I seem to do sometimes. But perhaps Adam Booth can help me with not getting hit in the face and, you know, slip and then throw something back.
If you can go all the way, you know, having had a terrific amateur career, you know, been Commonwealth champion, European champion, Olympic silver medalist, and bronze medal in the World Championship as well, I think, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
You know, after that great amateur career, if you could go all the way as a professional, what would it mean to you?
Well, that's what I'm in the sport for. Like, I was in the amateurs and I wanted to get to the Olympics and, you know, win a gold medal at the Olympics, and I thought I did that, but I got the silver, so, you know, I thought I wanted to aim to get to be #1 in the world, and, you know, since turning pro, then that's the next thing. I want to become, you know, a world champion, and I'd love to be undisputed.
Have you visualised it? Have you sort of kind of thought through and imagined what it might feel like to actually take that belt?
Yeah, I think, you know, I set these goals, and, you know, once you get there, you're thinking about the next thing. So, you know, it's all about the journey, and I'm having fun along the way.
Yeah, you're having fun, clearly. I mean, we've chatted informally away from, you know, sort of press conferences and everything, and you clearly are enjoying it hugely.
Yeah, it's not bad. I get to punch people in the face for a living.
which you're rather good at. What facet of being a professional do you enjoy the most? Is it actually the competition or the discipline of being out there training and getting yourself into great shape?
I think it's all of it. I think, like, training's really fun. You know, I like improving myself, and, you know, sparring's really great fun. And when you beat a really strong opponent, then it's, you know, you get great satisfaction.
Stivern, I guess, the biggest name on your record so far, who was a world title challenger. How do you evaluate your progressions to date?
Yeah, I haven't been doing too badly. I, you know, started off with a bang with
Ian Lewis.
Ian Lewison,
In a 10-round fight, yeah.
Thanks,
and then you know, with for the Commonwealth against
Lenroy
Thomas. Thank you, Sam. I need a better defence. And then yeah, so that's the Commonwealth title, and then winning the Continental against Joe Hanks, and then getting the WBA gold title, which is a new belt for the WBA, against Bemern Stavern. You know, which is a great big fight. Yeah, great name. Yeah, when Sam told me I'd be fighting him and he's agreed to fight me, I was over the moon. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm 8 fights in, 8 knockouts, and
Ready to go.
you know, I'm ready for my 9th fight.
I remember after that Stivern fight, there wasn't Luis Ortiz calling you out, and there was talk of that at some point.
Lewis
Ortiz.
Yeah,
That's definitely an option.
Yeah, 100%.
So you wouldn't mind the possibility of going down that route?
Yeah, he seems interested in the fight.
If you can't beat a 50-year-old man at Joe's stage in his career, he's not
Deontay Wilder nearly didn't.
Styles make
Yeah,
fights. Lewis Ortiz didn't win that fight because he was too old.
Yeah, he ran out of gas and couldn't keep on going around to the right, and you know, stopped his leg movement, and then that's when that big right hand came down the middle.
So, tell us about what it's going to be like getting in front of British fans again and fighting at Stevenage.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm looking forward to it, to, you know, be back on English soil, and you know, getting the party started with Queensbury.
Absolutely, Frank. Exciting times.
It is very exciting times in the heavyweight division. I'm old enough, and a couple of the journos here, yourselves, are old enough to look back at the British heavyweight division, like, and sort of, you know, shake your head and think, you know, was that old famous quote, was it Dorothy Parker made, if you laid all British heavyweights end to end, you wouldn't be surprised. Now they're the best, aren't they?
Absolutely.
I mean, we got the best.
Yeah,
We're just generating this. For some reason, like buses, they're coming along, and it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. This is as good as it gets as far as the heavyweight division is concerned. And and the three guys we keep talking about, I'm convinced one of them, or if not two of them, will definitely wind up winning versions of the world title.
Yeah, I mean, if they all fight each other, Nathan, Daniel,
Look,
Joe,
even if someone loses, it's not the end of the world. I put together, what is it, a few years ago, not heavyweights, but put together, if you remember, James DeGale and George Groves, very early in their careers. And both went on to win world titles. If you get beat, it's not the end of the world. It's how you come back. And you only got to look at Derek Chisora. I mean, he lost, was it 5 out of 6 for me, and he progressed from each loss. I mean, if he'd have won, it could have been. He was better off losing than winning them. He got the British title, lost, went on to fight the European title, lost, then went and fought for the world title, lost, and then he fought David Hay. And lost
Dylan White as well. Dylan White as well. He suffered an early a loss against Joshua.
So
he's gone on to be a pay-per-view star.
A loss in any fighter, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes from getting a loss, you can pick up more experience. But the heavyweight divisions in this country are very sexy at the top echelons. And I look at it at the moment, you've got obviously Wilder's an American, he's based in America. Anthony Joshua's next fight in the States. I don't know whether he's going to fight again this year. Maybe his next fight will be in the States, who knows. Tyson, I know his next 2 fights are definitely in the States. So this is a good time for prime time for the fans to see the next generation of heavyweights.
How confident are you, Frank, that from this next generation that you're talking about, that one of them, if not more, are actually going to go all the way?
I'm very confident. I think they've got the tools, they've got the experience. In Joe's case, he's got a wealth of amateur experience. When you look at what he's done, I mean, you just read out his record at the start of the press conference. You don't get any. Well, it does get better than that if you win a gold medal. But other than that, it's a great resume, isn't it? It's a fantastic.
Gold medal,
and he's done everything. He's been done everything he's had to do as a pro. He's done up to now. Daniel Dubois, our boy, all again. I think he's a tremendous talent. He's from experience point of view. He had 7 senior fights, but he's gone from strength to strength. And Nathan Gorman's done the same thing. They're talented heavyweights. So it's a sexy division. There are fights to be made there. And as I say, it's not the end of the world for the loser. You only got to look at, as I mentioned, mentioned Derek Chisora, but more so look at what happened with, as I say, with DeGale and with George Groves. They went on to win world titles. Getting beat is not the end of the world.
And you've sparred both the lads that Frank's talking about back in your amateur days, being in amateur training preparation with the pair of them, so you know them well.
Oh yes, in Team GB, they had a wealth of heavyweights. So we did quite a few rounds.
Confident as a result of that?
Oh yeah, it's great practice and experience for when you fight some of these other countries. It's important to have good sparring, and we had great sparring up there.
They've all got something in common, the three of them. They have tremendous belief in their own ability. When I speak to them individually, and more so, not so much with Joe, but he's oozes with confidence. When I speak to Daniel and Nathan, they genuinely believe in themselves. They believe they've got the beating of everybody. These are not guys just saying, I want to get a few quid, put me in this one, get a payday. They believe they can go on and win these titles. And that's what I get excited about, because of their confidence inspires confidence in us to push them forward and make the matches.
Before we ask for some questions from the floor, Frank, I mean, how, just put into words, because you're involved with these guys, been around for a year or two now, how excited are you to be actually shaping, if you like, to a degree, the heavyweight division in Britain at the moment, and potentially putting on these wonderful fights?
I'm very excited. I'm excited for me because I'm a boxing fan as well as a promoter. I love the sport. I'm competitive in my way as much as the boxers are, so we want to put on the best. I'm excited because we're building have built a platform on BT that I think has overtaken the domestic market. With the shows that we're putting on, I think we're leading We're the leading British promoter in this country. There's no doubt about it. And I'm so excited at the combination of fights that can be made, and the fact that I know at the end of the day that, as I say, one or two of these guys, certainly one of them, will win a world title.
Right, well, Joe, I'm sure will be happy to do as many photographs as you wish and as many one-on-ones since he's here. But in the meantime, are there any questions you'd like to ask from the floor of the fellas here now?
Any thought on opponent for Stevenage?
For Stevenage? No, not yet. They are working it. We only did this in the last couple of days.
What
So.
sort of level you look at?
At the level he's been fighting at. I mean, you know, you look at his record, he's not fought slouches, has he? I mean, he's gone in, he's fought rated guys. And I've got to be honest, that's something they pressure me on. Part of doing this deal was, no, we want him. So they ain't going to be hard to make, you know, to put him into a position like that. It's not marking time. And I mean it with the greatest respect. You know, he's got a wealth of experience as an amateur. He's 33 years of age. You don't be sitting around, do you? He's not
Yeah.
sit on his arse. He wants to get out there and do the business. So we're going to make it
Yes.
happen.
Be active.
Joe, why did you leave a well-renowned trainer like Sanchez?
I thought that, you know, Abel's a great coach, and I enjoyed getting experience in America. But I felt like I was kind of, you know, I was kind of a bit split, and I didn't have a base, so I was like based up there for the training camps, and then, you know, had to get a car and stuff like that, and then I'd, you know, come back and then don't really have anywhere to live, and then I'll to get a place, get a car, and I don't know, and I thought, yeah, and I thought, you know, Adam Booth was like my first choice. Like after, you know, splitting with Salas, Booth was, you know, on the radar. Then he was like first choice. So Sam tried to, you know, get in contact with him, but he didn't have enough time at the time. So we tried out Abel, and you know, Abel's a great guy. You know, get on with him. I like him, and you know, I like training up there. But I think, you know, I think it's really good to.
You're a homeboy.
Yeah. It's really good. It's really good to be back in the
UK.
UK, and I like the method that Booth uses to, you know, the head movement and stuff like that, staying offline and not getting hit. And I think, like my last fight, I was getting hit a bit too often than I liked. I mean, I did hit him with loads of shots, but I mean, he got him with a few.
But Adam Booth was Joe's first choice. He inherited Salas when he went with David Hay, and 17 champion Salas trained.
Yeah.
When Salas left, I think he went into kind of like a semi-retirement to Qatar to train. I don't know who Farhad, the Sheikh in Qatar. We needed to make a decision fast, and Booth wasn't available. So Abel Sanchez is a Hall of Famer coach, so we went out there, and you're going to get great experience training with Golovkin. But Booth was Joe's first choice, and Adam knows that himself. Adam Booth knows that himself, which is the reason why he took Joe with open arms when he had time for him. So that was the reason why.
Sam, I saw on social media when Joe Mills pulled out that you offered, you were interested in that fight, Joe. Did that ever get to a formal negotiation or talk?
Well, apparently Joe wasn't credible, but
Told that by
yeah, we said Joe wasn't a credible opponent, but it looks like Andy Ruiz or Trevor Bryan is. But look, Joe never asked about money for that fight. He just said, if that fight's there, he's available. He told me that. I didn't say, Joe, do you want to fight Anthony Joshua? He goes, I'll fight him. It's a huge opportunity. If you're not in boxing to win 3 world titles and fight for loads of money at Madison Square Garden, what on earth are you in boxing for? All these heavyweights are turning down the fight, and all Joe said was, he never said he deserved it. He just said, I'm available to fight. I'm ready to go. That's all he said.
Joe, given you're now based back in London, you've got a new promoter as well. In a positive way, does it feel like you're starting your career again?
Yeah, I guess it's a new chapter. It's a new start, fresh start, and I'm ready to get it going.
I think from a timing perspective as well, as Frank was just outlining, there is a real opportunity now with Anthony Joshua fighting in the US, Tyson Fury fighting in the US, for Joe to become, the possibility of becoming kind of leading heavyweight that regularly boxes in the UK.
Yeah.
And that's a timing thing, and it's fallen nicely.
Any more? Any more for any more?
A lot's made of Joe's, that he's slow, that he's 33, he's this, he's that, but when he wins a world title in slow motion, what's everyone going to say?
Don't worry about that. I keep saying I'm old and slow.
Right, so have
I'm
you
good
got
to
any
go.
closing words, Frank?
Yes, as I say, we'll come back to you later today. Hopefully we're in a position with Daniel is fighting, but we'll obviously let you know today. And there will be a big press conference next week to announce our future shows, and we'll be talking more about our show on the 13th of July at the O2, which is going to be a heavy-duty night. All these guys on.
Great to see Joe here, and great to see him part of our future promotions coming up, and it'll be great to see him as well on BT Sport. So I guess it's a little bit of a welcome, and looking forward to seeing
Yeah,
it.
so it's good night for him.
And it's good night.
Good.